Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto Trained with the Akatsuki, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Sasuke, Itachi's voice trailed off as his eyes met with his brother's. Let's finish this, Sasuke demanded in a cool tone. The last two members of the Uchiha clan swiftly disappeared into the air and were gone. Oh no, Itachi is gone. Minio-Paksu panicked. Let's take the tall man with the beard, yeah, Deidara proposed. Yes, he does seem to be the weaker one. Minio-Paksu agreed, boosting his self-confidence. Hey you, bald spot. Deidara referred to Kiran, who immediately granted him his attention. Deidara, you fool. Did you think it wise to taunt him? If he's in the Shouten, then he must be skillful. Minio-Paksu shouted as he smacked Deidara's head. Master, permission to fight. Kiran said. Kiran, you may K whoever you want. Q granted. Minio-Paksu and Deidara jumped off to the side of the cave as Kiran pursued them. Minio-Paksu, you know what to do. Deidara shouted as a miniature clay model of a bird enlarged, allowing him to leap onto its backside and depart into the air. Shut up and don't tell me what to do. Minio-Paksu hollered at his teammate, already forming a string of hand seals. Kenkan no Jutsu. Genjutsu. Kiran asked, looking all around himself. Deidara, do it now. Minio-Paksu shouted with his hands still linked. Deidara smiled deviously as he hurled a small bomb over to Kiran's face. Wait for it, he said to himself, full of excitement. Kiran caught the bomb and in a split second, it vanished from his hand. Where's the boom? Minio-Paksu asked Deidara, who suddenly exploded, creating a copious amount of smoke to appear. Deidara, no. He screamed, reaching his hand out. Don't worry, I didn't that easily. The actual Deidara said behind Kiran, flinging another bomb toward his opponent. The sound of the bang caused Deidara to grin once more from the enthusiasm. My art is magnificent. But that same smile faded as quickly as lightning when Deidara saw Kiran behind Minio-Paksu. Minio-Paksu fell to the floor the moment Kiran pierced his heart with his fist. You'll pay for that. Deidara screamed, enveloped with rage, flying towards his opponent. Suddenly, a bunch unexpectedly grabbed Deidara from behind, wrapping itself around him. Nobody ever calls me bald spot. Kiran said with an emotionless face as the Bunshin self-destructed K, the second Akatsuki member. Meanwhile, no physical tension had occurred between the rest of the group. Son, you have grown so much. Q said to Naruto. You'll pay for mocking my father. Naruto screamed, charging at the Shouten leader. Naruto took 4 steps and halted in his path when Kiran came directly in between him and his opponent. Move out of my way. Naruto barked through gritted teeth. Master, you said I may K whomever I want, correct? Kiran said, not deviating his eyes from Naruto. Very well then, take him. But make it quick. I want my body already. Q said as he put his hand up, creating a clear blue barrier around Kiran and Naruto, giving them their own personal space to battle. As for us, let proceed elsewhere to continue this. Q said to his 6 opponents. They all jumped up out of the cave into the forest and began their match. Let's go. Ketsu shouted as him and his teammates all rushed in the direction of Q, who unsheathed a sword from under his cloak. The 6 allies ran closely together as one, keeping a constant speed, closing in on the distance connecting Q to them. Watch it, he's going to strike. Kyosaku warned her comrades when Q lifted the blade over his head, just about to strike down. I've got it covered, Zabuza said, performing a cluster of hand seals just in time. Mizu Jiten. Zabuza quickly spun around, creating a large half-sphere made of water that performed as a barrier sheltering the entire group. But it was to no effect when Q's sword went directly through the blockade. Ching. Nobody was harmed while Hinata held her sword against Q's, blocking the attack from causing any damage. Q hastily sprang backwards into the air to avoid contact with the party. Suten, Mizuame Nabara, Zabuza said, forming the needed hand seals. He chucked his head forward while opening his mouth and expelled an adhesive liquid from his gullet all over the floor that Q landed on, leaving him unable to move. Now everybody together. If you focus chakra to your feet, then you can move over it without it being a hindrance. Zabuza explained as they all neared their opponent. Saru ran behind the group, forming 2 light balls to form, sending him ahead after Q. Ketsu summoned 4 other bunchans that aided him in shaping the Rasengan made of light. Ranpu, Rasengan. Kuchio's no jutsu. Ru shouted as a golden spear appeared in his hand. Everybody came by Q and did whatever damage they could and took off, jumping high to the left and right sides after striking. Finally, Kyozaku came by and shouted, Sushua no jutsu. A large volume of water rapidly materialized out of thin air and came down over Kyozaku and Q, engulfing them in water that was condensing. Freeze the water. Ru cried out to Zabuza, who obviously was knowledgeable in water jutsu. Gyu no jutsu. Zabuza shouted in the air as he approached the water coming down from his leap. He s his hand into the embodiment of water, freezing the surface with really thick ice, not allowing Q or Kyozaku to escape. Kyozaku, do it now. Ru shouted from above the ice. Kyozaku's muffled voice could be heard from below as she shouted, take Gamey Unari. Lion roar. The ice cracked all over, leaving it vulnerable to shatter. Don't stop fighting. Ketsu shouted as he jumped up and swooped down, jamming a large red Rasengan into the middle of the ice. Udama Bomu Rasengan. He screamed as the ice collapsed and the water exploded, soaring high into the air. Kyozaku jumped out along with Ketsu as she screamed above the water, Ru, it's your turn. Give it your best shot. Ru closed his eyes, saying softly in concentration, Akarui Nanatsu Token. 6 bright stars appeared above them and raced down faster than the eye could glimpse and struck their opponent. Suiton, Sakashima Haretsu. Kyozaku screamed once again while the water imploded, this time creating a crater on the ground. Everybody landed outside the huge depression and allowed the water to seep into the earth as they witnessed the damage they had done to Q. Nothing. Q stood there in the exact same spot, and the only aspect that had differed was his clothing. His Shouten cloak was gone and the top half of his tunic as well. However, his body did not have a single mark or scratch. Everybody else stood above him on higher ground, panting from what they had just eaten. A foreign voice came from behind a tree as Ryoku stepped out, saying, so it seems that nobody is really able to take you down. Isn't that right, Q? Q stood as still as stone with a smile on his face. So this is where the fun begins, he articulated. Ryoku observed his surroundings, and then looked at each and every ally, all working together for a common goal. Go home, everybody. This fight isn't for you. You're all risking your lives for a useless cause. You will never be able to defeat him. You'll need thousands at your level just to put a mark on him. Leave this battle to me. We will not back down. Ketsu screamed in confidence. I will see to it that the Shouten is no more, even if it costs me my life. Then you can take over if I lose, kid. Ryoku said, shutting Ketsu up. Ryoku, why did you join the organization that killed your son? Q asked. Why do you think? It was the only way to get to you. My job isn't finished until all the demon lords are gone. Ryoku said. The life you dreamed of, the life you wanted to spend with your wife and son, it is gone. So why do you still fight? Q continued to converse. Because if I don't, then my family is for nothing. When I sealed Okami inside Guru, I made sure to tell him that it was his grandfather that did it, not me. If Guru found out that I was still alive, then he would find me, and that would mean trouble. That is why Guru grew up always thinking that I was S. I entrusted him in the care of my demon because I knew he would do a good job of protecting him. I just never saw it coming that it was the actual demon they were after in the end, Ryoku said sadly. So that is why I have to take you down. How are you going to manage to do that? Q asked, still beaming. I was always stronger than you. We'll never know unless we try. Ryoku said as he squatted and touched the ground with his left palm, freezing a thick layer of ice over the damp crater. Ryoku then formed diamond blades under his ninja sandals, allowing him to skate from place to place. Oh, an interesting tactic indeed, Q said. We both know that it's faster, especially when I'm fighting in a big bowl. Ryoku said. I hope you're ready, Q. Ryoku, don't disappoint me. I want a good fight before I conquer the world, Q said. Ryoku said nothing as he skated swiftly over the thick ice around Q in a considerable distance. Zoom. All of a sudden a large diamond shard larger than Q himself in the shape of an icicle popped up in Q's location, forcing him to move to the side as he slid on the wet surface. Not fast enough, Ryoku said as he pointed to Q's arm, which had a piece of diamond stuck through it. Q pulled the icicle fragment out and let it be without worry. If that is not treated, then this battle is already over, Ryoku stated with a frown. This body is something I inhabit only because I was forced to do so. Soon I will have my body and this will be of no importance. Q said. What will happen to the Hokage? Ryoku asked. Ah yes, I almost forgot that this body belonged to someone. It has been too long. My willpower was overwhelming, so I was able to take control of it. That person resides in me and shall be free once I make the switch. Q explained. However, I will not allow this man to live. For the moment that he is free, he will rest by my hands. Either way, your muscles are pierced so that you are unable to move them, Ryoku said as another diamond shard shot up from the ice. This time Q avoided the attack and ran at his opponent. Bad move, Ryoku said softly as he jumped in the air and shoved his diamond skate into the incoming face of his enemy. The blade seeped through Q's cheek and knocked him down to the other side of the large ice crater. Bam! Ryoku said as another diamond shard went up, this time impaling Q through the stomach. Q began to stand up in attempt to remove his body from being pinned down. I won't let you escape, Ryoku shouted as he extended the diamond shard straight up for almost a mile high. Then after forming a quick string of hand seals, Ryoku put his hand to the freezing floor and said, Hyoten, Kongowski Nader. Taking up 3/4 of the crater, a mountain of ice formed higher than the shard that held Q to the ground. Kai! Ryoku screamed as he threw his arms in the direction of Q. Suddenly the tip of the ice mountain began to slide down in a manner of an avalanche leading straight to Q. Ryoku, being to the side of the large mountain, simply placed his hand on his creation, adding diamond to the S attack. The diamond and ice mixed together and crashed directly on top of Q, creating a devastating effect to the landscape. The crater depressed to a lower altitude and extended like a valley. The land was now scarred. Ryoku stood panting as he stared at the huge pile of diamond and ice mixed together that finally had settled. You did it, Saru shouted in praise. No, he's still alive, Hinata said, staring down with her Byakugan. Brace yourselves. Boom. There was a large explosion, sending the ice and diamond everywhere, destroying the trees and the land. So I see, Ryoku began. You froze your wounds to stop the bee. That will only for a few seconds before your organs change temperature and you will less of hypothermia. Then I suppose I better do this fast then, Q said, walking towards Ryoku. There is nothing left that you can do to hurt me anymore, Tsukomi Ryoku. Your best move has failed and it will not work twice. Do you simply think that after 17 years I have been sitting down lazily in peace? As long as you were alive, I had to become stronger in order to keep up with you. It's true that it was my best move, but that was long ago. Here Q, I present to you, a whole new level, Ryoku said as he stuck out his tongue, revealing a tattoo of a log. So then you can control wood now too. Quite impressive, Ryoku. I suppose I should take this much more seriously then, Q said, smiling. Sasuke and Itachi had reached a common point for their battle, very far away from everyone else. Little brother, you have grown so much. I hope that you have become stronger, Itachi said. I have waited all of my life for this moment. I want you to know that you will not leave here alive, Sasuke said. What a large threat. How can you be so sure that you have surpassed me? Itachi asked. Why don't you fight me and fight out? Sasuke asked. Both Uchiha clan members' eyes quickly turned red as they locked eyes into a dimension of genjutsu. Sasuke looked around and saw that the battlegrounds had changed. Shoot, I got caught first. Correction, little brother, we both activated our Mangekyo Sharingan at the same time. The result is a battle of the minds, Itachi said. So I see you have managed to achieve this level of Sharingan. How was it that you were able to do this? I did what you told me to do. IK, my only friend, Kabuto. After learning from Orochimaru, Kabuto was kind enough to aid me in any aspects I needed help on to improve my fighting skills. He was the closest person I knew. 3 years later I came him and achieved this. Everything I have done, all up till now, was so that I may be able to do what I am about to do. Sasuke said. I'm going to KO you. Sasuke reached behind him and smoothly threw two shuriken that flew towards Itachi in a crisscrossing pattern as they moved from side to side. Ching. The shuriken crisscrossed one last time, this time colliding with each other, bouncing off to the left and right. Itachi's eyes widened as he saw that each shuriken were attached to 4 strings that were around his body. However, the only object that was up was Itachi's Akatsuki cloak. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Itachi shouted from above Sasuke coming down. Thousands of Itachis were suddenly raining down from the dimension as Sasuke jumped up to join them. Chidori current. Sasuke shouted as electricity flowed as far as he could reach, destroying half of the Bunshins. Not enough, little brother. All the Itachis shouted as they neared him each moment. Katon, Karyuuendan. Sasuke screamed as a large amount of fire rushed from his mouth, devouring the rest of the Itachis in the air. On his descent to the ground, Sasuke noticed that his brother was already waiting for him with a large scroll on his back. Sasuke landed quietly and safely, looking at Itachi with K intent. Sasuke, here is where the power gap between you and me will clearly show. Itachi said as he opened the scroll and bit his thumb, placing a line of his B on whatever was written inside. Kuchio's no Jutsu. Poof. When the smoke cleared, Itachi stood in a fighting stance with a large black sword with a dark energy ball at the bottom of the blade. The handle was 2 feet long and the sword was 9 feet long altogether. What is that? Sasuke asked. The Akatsuki's secret weapon, the Jinchuriki sword. Before it was our leader, Wushinakuma, who held this sword. But after dying, it became my responsibility to hold it. However, anyone who yields it immediately falls in love with its power, for it has 9 of the 10 demons sealed inside of it. When Akuma carried this sword, it only had the 8-tailed demon. Lucky for everyone, Hinata did not touch the handle after seeing it. I lied to her saying that touching it could release the demon, but I did it because I did not want her to turn against us and leave us for us with all that power in her hands. Itachi explained. 9 out of 10 demons? Sasuke asked. I thought there were only 9. The 10 tails belonged to Hyuga Hinata, who survived when the demon was extracted. She has more power than anyone can imagine, and her potential has yet to be fulfilled. Even now, probably stronger than everyone, she can still become much stronger. Itachi said. Now I was planning to use our trump card for Q, but I want you to see how behind you were. Itachi swung the sword, not moving one step towards Sasuke, and the younger brother could already feel its force. The mind fight was discontinued as Sasuke and Itachi both came to the real world. Sasuke fell to one knee in pain. He could feel his whole body completely weakened from that attack. He looked up towards his brother, who still had his Akatsuki cloak on and no sword in his hands. So the sword was merely genjutsu? Sasuke asked. No, it was not, my brother. Itachi said as he removed his cloak with the large scroll behind his back. But this time it's not a game, you will S from this next strike. Itachi reached for the scroll and pulled it forward from his back. Don't think that I'll give you a chance to use that sword. Sasuke said as a ball of electricity formed in his right hand. Sasuke quickly got up and ran towards his brother, who was now alert. Boom. Sasuke's right arm was caught by the wrist, leaving Itachi no harm at all. You won't get away that easy. Chidori. Sasuke formed another Chidori in his left hand, but the same result occurred. Itachi caught Sasuke's left arm and dropped the scroll to block the attack. Now Itachi had Sasuke by both of his wrists and they were face to face. Sasuke smiled as he grabbed Itachi's wrists as well, while another Sasuke came from behind Itachi with a Chidori charging to impale him. Itachi's body curved to the side as Sasuke's Sasuke instead. Poof! The Sasuke Bunshin that was S disappeared and Itachi jumped back with his brother right after him. Take this, brother! Sasuke screamed as he gathered chakra to his 2 fingers and hit 6 points on Itachi's B. Itachi stopped in his tracks as a spike suddenly appeared from under his sandal. Itachi stepped on Sasuke's foot, not allowing him to go. Sasuke screamed in pain as his brother bit his thumb once more and drew a symbol on Sasuke's stomach. Itachi then with an open palm struck the seal, activating it. It's no use, Itachi. You are already S. The 6 pressure points I pressed slowly liquefy your organs and there is no reverse jutsu. You will S. Sasuke said in pain. Just like you, Sasuke, Itachi said weakly. That seal will work even if I am S. It is a death clock which when finished, it will instantly kill you. There is nothing you can do to prevent it. It seems we have come to a draw. You just couldn't S by yourself, could you? How much time do I have left? Sasuke asked. That is for you to find out. Sasuke, take the scroll. Take it and deliver it to Hinata. She is the only one who can defeat Q at this point. Itachi said. It seems I don't have much longer. Itachi looked at his brother's eyes and smiled slowly. Brother, he said as he fell on his back and liquid began to seep through his pores. A death clock, Sasuke said to himself as he picked up the scroll and left back to the battlegrounds. You are not going to be able to escape from here unless Q himself releases it. Kiran said smiling. Naruto breathed deeply with a tint of fear. He could feel the K intent radiating from Q. It was almost as real as actual flesh. I think I am going to enjoy this. Kiran said smiling even greater. Naruto stood silent until finally he said, I can already tell that you are the greatest enemy I have ever faced. What is your name? Wushin Kiran. Wushin. Naruto asked with his eyes wide open. Yes, I am Akuma's older brother. I am the first to reach the full potential of our clan power since Wushin ancestors. Hundreds of years ago, most men of the Wushin clan could access this special ability. However, after generations that ability became harder and harder to achieve, until finally it was forgotten about it altogether. But I have done what many have dreamed to do. And now I stand here before you. All I ask of you is that you give me all that you have, because if not, then this battle will pass too quickly. Kiran requested. So you kill your own brother, Naruto said. Give you my all, huh? That's a lot to ask. But I cannot simply leave my friends out there to fight Q. I need to go out there and help them. So I will agree to your request. You want me to do my best? Then I will. Kuchio's no jutsu. Poof, poof. The dragon Naruto attempted to summon was instantly sent back as Kiran attacked to destroy it. The smoke finally cleared, and Naruto was nowhere in the barrier. Kiran looks around but Naruto already one step ahead of him shouted, Shinju Zanshu no jutsu. Please do not even joke with such a thing. Kiran said, destroying the ground with brute force, creating a hole in the earth. I have to end this fast then. Naruto said. I am not going to let you do that, Uzumaki Naruto. I am not going to let you live anymore. Kiran said. Then in that case, I'm going to have to resort to drastic measures, Naruto said, squinting his eyes. By all means. Thank you, Orochimaru. Onkyu Hakushu. Naruto shouted, running to the left side of Kiran, extending his arms out and clapping his hands once. Kiran screamed in pain as he grabbed his head. What was that noise? It is a sound jutsu that makes your brain vulnerable to all sounds. It also leaves you disoriented, which will definitely turn things to my favor. Naruto said. Don't think things will be that easy. Kiran screamed. Thank you, Zetsu-san. Ukanaira no jutsu. Naruto shouted as a crown of thorns appears on Kiran's head. The thorns grew into vines that wrapped all around Kiran's body, about to constrict Kiran. Suddenly, the vines burned as Kiran's cloak exploded, saving him from death. My Shouten cloak is made of chakra, which I can change into any element. I simply exploded my cloak. That will not work either, Uzumaki Naruto. However, continue. This is getting interesting. Thank you, Deidara. Haraguchi no jutsu. Naruto formed the needed set of hand seals and his right palm suddenly opened up to reveal a mouth with teeth and a tongue. Naruto held out his right hand as it devoured a huge ball of clay that suddenly appeared. It then regurgitated the clay to form a bunchen of Kiran. Raiten, Bakushinchi no jutsu. Kiran shouted as he opened both of his hands to form a large ball of lightning. After formed, he quickly threw it at the clay bunchen, disassembling it completely. Thank you, Kakazu. Soshi Bakufu. Naruto shouted as he gathered chakra in both of his hands and released an elemental blast towards his opponent, who was busy with the clay bunchen. The elemental blast connected, and Kiran was wounded badly, but he gushed out from his abdomen at a quick rate. Did you like that one? That is an elemental blast which contains fire, water, lightning, earth, and my personal best, wind. Naruto explained. Kuchio's no jutsu. Naruto said as he opened his hand to hold a small box. He quickly opened the box and looked inside at the black powder. Thank you, Sasori-san. Boy, this one took me a while to learn, Satatsu. Naruto said as the black powder rose from the box and compacted together to form a long thick needle pointing towards Kiran. What is that? Kiran asked in pain. It is iron sand. The inventor of this jutsu was the third Kazekage of the Sand Village and I am the only other who learned it. It is extremely difficult to control and I am still a novice at this jutsu. It takes a huge amount of concentration and chakra control to keep every grain of iron sand together to form a solid object. Naruto explained as the needle rushed to Kiran. Kiran gathered chakra in his hands and shouted, "Chakra Seishi." He threw the chakra at the needle and it disassembled upon contact. So I can see that you destroyed all chakra control into the iron sand, rendering it useless. Well done, but you do not have much left longer. Naruto said. Thank you Itachi. Kaiten, Moetsuku no Jutsu. Naruto shouted, breathing nothing at all into the air. Thank you Hidden. Doton, Keryu no Jutsu. Naruto said, forming many hand seals, finally having the earth at his command. All attempts to engulf Kiran under the earth were failed as he simply punched through everything that came over him. I'm not going underground. Kiran screamed, punching harder and faster. I'll be the judge of that. Naruto said, pulling two kunai and scraping them together. The sparks emitted from the friction ignited the air, creating a huge explosion all over the barrier. The only safe spot left was underground. Thank you Minyopaku. Dashinsai no Jutsu. Naruto looked up and his eyes rolled to the back of his head in concentration. Kiran suddenly appeared above ground, even more beat up than before. However, the exact moment that Kiran appeared on the surface, Naruto shouted, "Thank you Akuma." Ishiki Sumitsuki. Naruto's hand suddenly was surrounded with grey chakra as he drove it into Kiran's sea. Kiran went flying to the ground and everything went blank. I know you can't hear me considering the jutsu I just used on you seals your chakra and muscle strength. It also causes your nervous system to fail, not allowing you to move at all. Not only that, but your temperature will now decrease drastically, causing you to S in less than 30 seconds. Naruto explained uselessly. Thank you Kisame-sama. Naruto said as he put his hands out in front of him where a large ball of water appeared. Naruto mixed the little chakra he had left into it and drank the ball. Naruto then watched in amazement as Kiran used his trump card, the blood limit he was talking about earlier. Kiran's body made a complete change as he became more muscular and his skin turned completely black. His eyes became completely white and his teeth grew longer and sharper. His body released an enormous amount of white chakra. He stood up as his wounds healed completely. This is how I K my brother, and this is how I am going to K you. Just one question, how did you get such a huge explosion with two kunai? Kiran asked in a much deeper voice than before. Every single one of the 10 moves I used from the real start of our Fighter S-class jutsu I learned from my previous instructors. The 7th one allows me to breathe gas into the air and I let it spread all over as I tried to get you underground with my Earth Ocean technique. Since that didn't work, I simply used a spark to ignite the gas that was all over the air by that time. Naruto explained. It seems that you have become much stronger. No doubt about it. I have never met anyone that can beat me at this stage except Q. I am going to end this. I thank you for a pleasurable fight. Kiran said. I won't let you win. I have not even begun to use my power. Naruto said, smiling. You must be completely drained from chakra by now. Kiran said. That 10th move actually replenished most of my chakra. I can only use it once per battle. So basically, since all my best moves could not KU, then I shall use my trump card. I can see that you are in perfect health and better off than when we started. It's time to really end this. Naruto said, concentrating hard. An aura of blue chakra appeared all over Naruto as he screamed in concentration. Then a red aura of chakra appeared on top of the blue chakra and they merged together. The barrier around them shattered with just the chakra. Let's go. Naruto shouted as he charged at his opponent and Kiran charged at him. Boom. The cave they fought in closed in completely with the power. All that was left were huge boulders and rubble. A boulder moved out of the way as Naruto stepped out without a shirt and with his pants ripped down to shorts. He carried on his shoulder the body of his opponent Kiran. So you mixed the wood, ice, and diamond to create 2 midget fighters and 1 giant. Q said, looking at his 3 new opponents. Precisely. Together, These three elements become the firmest substance ever created. Ryoku said. The two small characters Ryoku had made each had nunchaku and the large one had a gigantic sword. However, no matter how much time passed by, or how hard they would try, they could not hurt Q, and Q could not hurt them. Goodbye Q. Ryoku said finally as all three characters exploded, wounding him completely. You may be skilled Ryoku, but you can never defeat me. Q said. See, that is where you make the mistake of believing that you are immortal. You are nothing as long as you have a body to live in. Your soul will go down with it. Ryoku said. I'm going to KU Q, because I am capable of doing that. I think we have already established that I'm stronger than you. If you were stronger than me, then you would not S. Q said, completely angry as he disappeared and reappeared behind Ryoku S. His heart. Ryoku fell to the floor as everyone else got ready to fight. I'm not going to play around anymore. Q shouted in anger. Come, so that I may devour all of you. Leave them alone Q. Naruto shouted from above a tree. He jumped down and placed Kiran's body face up at Q's feet. It's over Q. You don't have anybody anymore. You cannot win. Kiran, Q said softly looking at his right-hand man. Then he smiled saying, ha, ha, ha boy. Boy you have no idea what you have just done. Naruto suddenly fell to the floor screaming in pain as Q pointed towards him with one hand extracting the red chakra forcefully from his body. With the other hand Q directed the body over to him. He placed the red chakra into his body and suddenly the fourth Hokage fell to the floor completely wounded in all parts of his body. Q in his real body completely untouched stood tall in his red armor and long red hair. He looked around with a devious smile and looked at his hands. Like I said before, nobody can stop me. He pointed to Zabuza and shot out a red chakra ball that exploded immediately after touching him. Zabuza! Saru shouted. Q clenched his left fist and hit the ground sending Saru, Ru, Kyosuke, and Naruto flying far off from that point. I am more interested in fighting you two. Q said pointing at Ketsu and Hinata. Well it looks like you're going to have to fight me too. Sasuke shouted as he appeared holding the large scroll. Hinata, use this. He hurled the large scroll to Hinata who summoned the sword. My brother told me that it is the Jinchuriki sword. It has 9 out of the 10 demons in it. If anyone can stop this man, it's you. Sasuke said looking at the blue-haired girl. Interesting, Q said reaching towards the sword Hinata held. Don't let him have it. Sasuke shouted rushing towards Q. His efforts were in vain as Q simply knocked him away doing the same with Ketsu. Little girl, give me that sword, and I'll make your death more quick. Q said. Take one more step and I'll KO you. Naruto shouted from above the same tree again. How did you get back so fast? Q asked amazed. My speed can outmatch that of anyone's. Naruto said. Is that so? Q said appearing behind Naruto who appeared by Hinata. Yes it is. Naruto shouted up to Q. Hinata, I can give you some time if you can S that sword into Q's heart. That will end everything. Naruto said. Are you up for it? I'm ready to do anything to bring him down. Hinata said. Naruto opened up his right hand's mouth and it regurgitated a small green scroll. What is that? Hinata asked. Our immobilizer. I have to put all my chakra into it in order to activate this scroll. Naruto said as he drained all his chakra. Poof. In Naruto's hand he held a regular kunai. This may look like a regular kunai, but it's not. If I can throw this at his shadow then he won't be able to move for a few seconds. But if I throw it and it gets stuck and it doesn't get stuck on his shadow, then it's wasted forever. Are you ready? Naruto asked. Let's K him. Hinata said as they both turned to face Q who had came down from the tree. Hinata rushed at Q as they clashed swords together. You think you can win with such simple tricks? I'm telling you I will devour you. Suddenly, Naruto appeared behind Q throwing the kunai as fast as he could at Q's shadow. Fools! Q shouted as he jumped back just in time. You didn't think that I wasn't listening did you? Now it's time to devour you both. Gotcha, the real Naruto said throwing a shuriken with a very intricate design into Q's shadow. Hinata do it now. Hinata rushed with all her speed but before she could strike her opponent, he was already running away. Naruto he's getting away. Hinata screamed. Suddenly, a hand grabbed Q's ankle. He looked down to see the fourth Hokage clasping onto him. Maggot! Get away from me! Q shouted, crushing the skull of the blonde man. Father! Naruto screamed as he himself jumped onto Q. Hinata, do it! Hinata ran with just enough time and with all her might, drove the Jinchuriki sword into Q's heart. Q screamed in rage as his body began to crack with light trying to escape. He's going to explode! Hinata shouted. Naruto, get out of there! He'll escape if I do. There is no other way to defeat him. Goodbye, Hinata, Naruto said as the explosion covered the whole forest. 2 years later, Hokage-sama, Saru requested to see you. Shizune said to new Hokage Haruno Sakura. Well, let him in, Sakura said, and you know you're supposed to call me Sakura. Saru stepped into the same room as Sakura and said, today is the day. 2 years ago, heroes and so did evil. I just wanted to remind you of the memorial we're having later tonight. Saru, I could never forget, Sakura said, giving Saru a smile. This is nice, isn't it? Kyosaku asked as her, Ru, and Ketsu lay in the grass looking at the stars in a country far off from Konoha. Yeah, it really is, Ru said. You guys, thank you for celebrating this day for me, Ketsu said, looking a little sad. That's what we're here for, Ketsu. We will always remember Naruto. Kyosaku said. Hey Ru, how did you get so good anyway? Ketsu asked. I've told you this story many times, Ketsu. Ru said. I know, but I like hearing it. Ketsu said. Well, I was trained by the 7 famous samurai ever since I was young. Each one of them gave me a special weapon, and that is what use for my best move. So those 7 stars that I use, they're each one of the weapons that I received from my previous masters. Ru explained. Hey, you shortened the story. Ketsu complained. Just watch the stars, you idiots. Kyosaku sighed. Wow, can you believe it has already been 2 years since we have started looking for him, Hinata? Sasuke asked. It's been so long. It has brought us to the Whirlpool country. We've gone a long way, haven't we? Hinata asked, looking off into the ocean. Well, at least this is a nice pier that we're on, huh? Sasuke asked, trying to lighten the mood. Hey, cheer up. Look, there's a blonde man over there, why don't we go talk to him? After 2 years of searching, it has led us over here. They walked over to the blonde man who had his back to them and his face to the ocean side. He held a wooden fishing rod in his hands while he slowly moved his feet, which he let soak in the water. Damn ocean. I haven't caught a single fish today. Now what am I going to eat? The man said to himself, sighing. Hinata and Sasuke both opened their eyes wide when they heard the voice of their friend. Uzumaki, Naruto? Hinata asked in a shaky voice. Her body trembled with surreal amazement as reality sunk in. 2 years of searching had not been wasted. The man turned around slowly, showing a fatigued face. He had a small goatee growing at the end of his chin, and he looked up with his ocean blue eyes at his old friends. He opened his mouth and spoke softly. I have not been called that name for a long time. The end. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.